Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Deva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapiyat Sarvam, Trailokyam Sacharacharam, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. Our salutations to Shukdev Maharaj, the teacher of the Bhagavatam, Sri Veda Vyasa Bhagavan, the composer of the Bhagavatam, Devarishi Narad Muni, who also helps us to understand it, and Sutta Maharaj, and all the great saints and sages that kept the Bhagavatam alive. Hari Om. Satchidanandarupaya Vishnutpatyata hetave Tapatraya vinashaya Shri Krishnaya vayam numaha Shri Krishnaya vayam numaha. Chita chora vrindavana sanchara Chita chora vrindavana sanchara Gopala Gopala He Murali Gopala 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 He Murali Gopala Chita chora vrindavana sanchara Chita chora vrindavana sanchara Gopala Gopala, Hey Murali Gopala. Can you all hear me? The Bhagavatam is known to be full of stories. But the very second canto of the Bhagavatam has 0 stories. It has just knowledge. Because as we saw yesterday, Jnana and Vairagya also have to come alive as we see Sri Krishna and enjoy his Leelas. And so here we see that King Parikshit has been cursed. He goes down to the river Yamuna. He is sitting, and Shukdev Maharaj, who we've seen all his glories yesterday, has come to teach King Parikshit. We saw King Parikshit's glories as well, that he had been able to conquer Kali. He had such a pure mind that he was able to defeat any kind of deterioration. But he gives Kali this lease to be able to stay in a few places. And because of his purity and because of his yearning and his devotion, all these great saints and sages have gathered to help him spend these next 7 days preparing for his death. And so again and again we will hear it being said that Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to live and the Bhagavatam teaches us how to die, although it's the same thing. How to live is how to die, and how to die is to live very, very well. And so he asks now many questions, and all these questions Shukdev Maharaj starts answering. And in the Vedic style of teaching, this is very common that when a student asks a guru a question, the guru will say, that's a really good question. In fact, I remember when so-and-so asked so-and-so that same question. And then that great teacher replied. And the reason this is done is, number one, because, we think we're very great for asking these questions. And so the guru is letting the student know, many times it's been asked, don't think you're so great for thinking of this question. Other people have also. And I'm also not so great for knowing the answer because other gurus have been asked this question and they have also been able to answer it. And here the point is that this knowledge is eternal. This knowledge is not here between you and me. This knowledge has existed from the beginning of time and even before that, and has been kept alive from so many great masters and so many seekers who have earnest yearning to know. And every time the question is asked, the knowledge is kept alive. And so this is a way, and you will see it. And I'm not really going into it, but every time a question is asked, we see that Shukdev Maharaj refers to Naradji, or he refers to Veda Vyasa Bhagwan, or he refers to Krishna himself, or he refers to Matunga Rishi or Agastya Rishi, and so many conversations, and then a year again, the idea is that satsang is never happening just here now. Satsang is like an echo throughout the whole of Bhagwan's creation. And his glories are just being constantly sung from all corners of his creation, because the Bhagavatam again and again tells us it's the only thing worth doing. What? Singing Bhagwan's glories and listening to Bhagwan's glories. And so the first question that Parikshit Maharaj asks Shukdev is naturally, how should I die? And it's not like you think we have choice. Yeah, we have choice. We so often think about it as something that's just going to happen. Like lightning will strike and then we'll be dead. But we die as consciously as we live. Because how do we live? Let's see if you all know. How do we live? I really don't have lots of time, so you'll have to think fast. Hong Kong people are so busy, they can't keep coming back day and night for satsang. We have to squish everything into 2 hours. Come on, fast. How do we live? Happily? So then we should die happily. To enjoy, then we should die to enjoy. Terrible answer. Stressfully. Then we should die stressfully, which is a lot of people. Peacefully, we live peacefully. Do we live peacefully? And so this is interesting. Please note this down. However you living is how you will die. And so if you truly are living peacefully, you will die. Yeah. So now you know how to die. Like I said, how to live and how to die is very much intertwined. And how do we live? Still thinking? You're thinking maybe not quite in the right direction. I have to give you ishara to help you. What determines what you do? What determines how you live? Thoughts. We live, and this is going to be coming in the second canto itself, and more so in the third canto when we talk about creation. Everything starts with thoughts. We actually live more inside our heads than we live outside in the world. Whether we inside in our head planning, like this flowers around Krishna, I planned for like a whole week. So it's going to be there for at least a whole week. It happens inside in our heads. And then it happens outside. How many times you've rehearsed a conversation in your head? Of course, the conversation never goes the way you rehearsed it in your head. But you did, right? You rehearsed it in your head. Whether you're going to actually have that conversation or not, because that's also interesting. We rehearse conversations in our head that we're never going to have. Where are we living and how are we living? Here. In our heads. And how are we going to die? Here. Body is doing what body is doing right now, even when we are alive. We're not interested, as if we digest, circulate. We're not doing that. Regulate temperature. We're not doing that. Blink, gulp. We don't do that. We don't have such thoughts. Body is just doing what body always does, and it does it beautifully most of the time. Thank you, Bhagwan. And if it doesn't do it beautifully, okay. What are we actually administrating, arranging, manipulating, calculating, planning, avoiding? All is that is here. And so, how to die? Very simply, by thinking about Bhagwan. One answer, so small. Shukdev, in fact, Parikshit asked so long. Now that I have come to this point where I am waiting for the snake to come and bite me, please advise me what would be the... And Shukdev Maharaj, think about Bhagwan, full stop. And this was also another Vedic tradition. The teachers would test the students. I've answered, are they going to be fine with that? Do they really have an interest to want to know more? Are they thirsty for knowledge? Are they thinking? Are they brave? Are they logical? And so he stopped after talking. Now you tell me. And so Parikshit Maharaj asked so many more questions to be able to understand more. But the answer is that simple. How to die? By thinking about Bhagwan. Because in chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has explained that whatever we are thinking about at the point of death determines where we go. And there's going to be many stories in the Bhagavatam itself that is going to elaborate that. And so if we're thinking about Krishna, we will reach Krishna, or any form of divinity. If we're thinking about love, we reach love. Very much like how when you leave the ashram tonight, where will you go? Wherever you're thinking about, that's where you will go. Well, mostly. Or if you're thinking about something else, you'll go to your phone to help you get there. Please, everybody move this way and forward. So, how to think about Bhagwan and why to think about Bhagwan and how to focus on him and how to make the mind more absorbed in him are then all these questions that King Parikshit is going to be asking Shukdev Maharaj? And he answers so beautifully and so elaborately. And so the first thing King Parikshit is told by Shukdev Maharaj on how to help me train my mind to be thinking about Bhagwan. And so remember, here he's got 6 days, 7 days still at this point before the snake comes. And so he wants to be able to master this ability to be thinking about Bhagwan when that snake comes. And so he has little time, and so he's very focused. But no matter how much time we have or don't have, that idea of being very focused to be able to do it. And the first thing Shukdev Maharaj says is, sit straight. Really? We came to Bhagavatam to hear that? Then what should we be doing? Sit straight? You're looking horrified. When do we sit straight? And the minute that alertness goes, we slouch. When we go into half listening mode, we slouch. Or when we feel burdened by what we're hearing, or by life in general, then we... And anybody who has done any kind of meditation will know that if you're doing the meditation and suddenly your mind becomes clear and you have this inspired moment in your meditation, you straighten up. And it can even just be a very micro movement of the body. Maybe just the shoulder going that much back or that much down. But you'll notice the body will make that slight shift because the mind has made a slight shift, and the mind and body are so interlinked. And the idea of sit straight is we have to live life with attentiveness. Because so often we live life automated. And there's this story that's well known about somebody who was looking for that. You know, there's that stone that if you touch it to something else, everything turns into gold. And so he said it was lying in some beach that somebody threw it there when they were really annoyed. And if you go to there, then you'll find it. It's one of those many hundred pebbles. And then you have to pick it up. And if you touch it, and if it's warm, then that's the stone. And if it's not the stone, then, pick up another one and see if that one's warm. You all heard the story, right? And so he goes to the beach looking for that warm stone, and he picks up a stone and it's cold, and he thinks if I put it down I won't know which one it is, and so he throws it into the ocean. And he picks up another stone and it's cold, and he throws it into the ocean. He picks up a 10th stone and it's cold, and he throws it into the ocean. He picks up the 120th stone and it's cold, and he throws it into the ocean. And he picks up the 122nd stone and it's warm, and he throws it into the ocean. And then he thinks, oh, how many times do we do that? Because we live automated. Yeah. And thanks to our phones, we live even more automated. Yeah. And so sit straight is not about posture. It's about that attentiveness with which we live our lives. And what are we being attentive to? Remember, where are we living? Yeah. We're being attentive to here. What's coming in? How are we reacting to it? Yeah. Even when somebody else says something, what's happening here? Understanding, reaction, sensitive, insecure, emotion, attentiveness. And even yesterday, we saw Bhagwan's nature, Sat, Chit, Ananda. And I didn't focus too much on it, but Chit. Chit yesterday we saw is knowledge, but Chit is also this attentiveness. Yeah. And what is spiritual living? Many people think sitting eyes closed in meditation. No, eyes can be open. What's more important is mind is attentive. And if eyes are closed, mind is attentive. Doesn't matter if eyes are open or closed. Spirituality is mind is attentive. alert, living in awareness. And sometimes when we explain that and we do a class on meditation and then we say sit straight and then people will be. But awareness doesn't mean rigidity. Yeah. There's ease in it because it's our nature. And so remember, what question are we answering? How to die. Living in awareness of our own thoughts, of what we are feeling and thinking, because only when we are in awareness can we make choices. Otherwise, in automated living, like he picked up that stone and he threw it, that was not a choice. But when we are aware, we make a choice and we can change things and we can adjust things. We can dial things up or dial things down, and then it can be a lot more appropriate, or what it is, more beneficial to the outcome that I want it to be. And so, sit straight. And then he says, breathe. How to die sounds very much like the steps of how to meditate. Here again, breath is very closely interlinked with our emotions. Okay? When we get angry, breath changes. When we get scared, breath changes. When we filled with excitement, breath changes. When we filled with lust, breath changes. And when we peaceful, breath is calm and smooth. And so controlling the breath is a great way to control the mind. But here in Bhakti Shastra, I'm not going to focus so much on breath in terms of how we do in Yoga Shastra, but rather because here the idea is how to die, to remember Bhagwan. The best way to remember Bhagwan is japa. Yeah. And so to constantly say the name of the Lord. And in Kali Yuga, it's the fastest, most effective, most powerful way. It's the most effective, most powerful way in all the yogas. And in Kali Yuga, because the mind is deteriorated, only the most powerful works with the mind. And so here when he says breathe, it's very much the techniques linked in with japa and breath, which is elaborated in Bhagavatam and in Yoga Shastra, and we're not going to go too much into it. I'll give you the most simplest one, even though we can touch on some of the others, is you take a deep breath in, and then as you're breathing out, you chant your whole mantra. And so since it's Bhagavatam, we will say Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. And so we'll breathe in, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. And so you do your japa in this way. So one, you get the benefit of doing japa. Two, you get the benefit of using the breath, which helps to control the mind. And so the mind is controlled using the breath, but the mind is also purified because we are saying japa with it. And so we'll do it 3 times so that you'll hopefully remember, and then this is homework till you'll get here tomorrow. Okay? Take a deep breath. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Remember, you're doing it on the whole length of your out breath. Right? So you have to time it as per your breath. You breathe in as deep as you can, and then let the mantra last the whole duration of the amount of time it takes you to breathe out. So we don't have to synchronize because our length of breaths are not going to be all the same. So you close your eyes. You take your deep breath in, comfortable, not uncomfortable deep. And then as you're breathing out, say, Shri Krishna Sharanam. Doing it at your own speed, not thinking about anyone else or listening to anyone else. 1, 2 more times. And even just 3 times would have calmed your mind if you were focused. If you make it too deep, you'll feel uncomfortable. Yeah? So normal amount of deep so that you are not feeling uncomfortable. Breath. Breath in so many ways is manifestation of life. But here we use it to increase our pranic shakti, which means our energy, but also, more important than physical energy for the body, our ability for the mind to be alert. The mind is more alert when we feel energetic. And so as we breathing, we feel energized. And therefore, the mind can stay alert. Otherwise, we get very tired of staying alert all the time. It feels like burden. Even though it's actually our nature. Because chit is our nature. It ends up feeling like burden because we're not used to it. Because we don't have the energy. And so breath used to be able to give us our energy so that staying aware becomes easier. The other ways to do this is to breathe in. Say the mantra, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, breathe out. Breathe in, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, breathe out. That's higher. Higher means harder. Higher in terms of producing more energy. It is said that whatever we think when we're holding our breath becomes more potent. I'm not making it up, said. And so the idea to say the mantra while we're holding our breath, because that's what we want to become potent. Otherwise, sometimes we're so scared and then we tensed and we hold our breath and we're thinking all these fearful thoughts and that becomes potent. Or we're angry and we're holding and we don't even realize. We don't even realize we're doing things to strengthen a thought when those are not the thoughts we want to strengthen. And so to consciously strengthen a thought in meditation, to have that presence of mind, to use breath as a way to strengthen it. And so if I live my life strengthening the thought that uplifts me, if I live my life energizing myself with those thoughts that uplift me, then it becomes automated to think this thought. Becomes automated to think about Bhagavan. Yeah. There's this very cute song that Puja Guruji sings, that Radha is walking in the streets of Mathura, and she's gone from Vrindavan to Mathura to sell butter, to make money so that they can bring it back to the farm. And she's holding the pot of butter on her head and she's saying, "Please buy Krishna, sweet, sweet Krishna, fresh, fresh Krishna, cheap Krishna." She doesn't realize she's saying Krishna instead of When this thought becomes our nature, when we continuously do it, this thought then becomes effortless. It's there even if we're not trying. Right now, desire and attachments and fears are the thoughts that come to us effortless. Why? Because that's what we've practiced. And that's what we've invested in. And that's what we've spent so long mastering. What have we mastered? Attachments, desires, fears, some anger, some jealousies. Each one of us have our own unique combination of what it is we have mastered up till this point in time. But how to die? To master the thought of mantra or Bhagavan's name, forms. And so 5 aspects are given to listen to his katha. And here the very word katha means gives us information about. Right? So Rama Katha means it gives us information about Ram. Because to be able to die well, we have to know his name, his forms, his attributes, his leelas, and his glories. And so we'll think like, how to think of Bhagavan all the time? So we change. First you think about the name, then you think about the glories, then you think about the katha, then you think about back to the name, then you think, then there's enough to do the whole day long. And especially if we've listened to the kathas are so many and so beautiful. And so the idea is that the more we listen to it, the more we can then meditate on his form. And so sit straight, breathe, and then meditate on his form is number 3. Right? This is how to live and spend our time preparing to how to die. So meditate on his form in Canto 2 of the Bhagavatam. There's 2 aspects given, and actually far more emphasis is given on Bhagwan's cosmic form. And then we talk about the Devata form. So in the Bhagavatam it's Sri Krishna, but whichever form that we find dear to us is Ishta Devata form, and then we meditate on that particular form. And then maybe after the summer break we'll do actual meditations on the Ishta Devata forms for us to be able to know exactly how Bhagavatam is training us to meditate on it. But today I'm going to focus less on the Ishta Devata form and more on this cosmic form, because we may not have heard of it as much. So the cosmic form of Bhagwan, very poetically described as, first, his feet, we have 7 levels of heaven and 7 levels of hell, and then we have us in the middle. And if you didn't know this before, now you know. So his cosmic form, his head is the highest level of heaven, which is Brahmalok, and his feet is the lowest level of hell. Isn't that interesting? I'd love to know why y'all think it's interesting. Huh? Where are we? Bullock? Yeah, apparently his stomach, which is why we keep talking about food. Bullock is in the middle. Yes. Or if we are lucky, we are in his heart, which is Vaikuntha. And Vaikuntha isn't a physical place, it's when we are keeping his company. And our mind is filled with love for him, we are in Vaikuntha. And the exact translation of Vaikuntha is where Maya becomes blunt. That's what Vaikuntha means. And so when we are with Bhagwan, his Maya can't touch us. And so we are in Vaikuntha, which is his heart. But the cosmic form is all these different worlds. But the cosmic form is also described as all the grass and the trees and the plants are his hair. And all the rivers and the oceans are the blood that is flowing in his body. And what else? The sun and the moon are his eyes. And, what was his hair? I can't remember now. It's very poetically, beautifully described. But I do remember his teeth are death. Why? Because even in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 11, it's shown as death is his teeth. And his smile is Maya. And his Maya is of 2 types. His smile is Maya, which is enchanting, and also deluding. And so when he smiles, we don't know which one it is. But this very beautiful cosmic form of the Lord is given in description here, and we can meditate on it in so many different ways. And so it is said that his eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch are all made up of the 5 elements, and it goes into quite a bit of logic of how it works. And later on when we see Vara Avatar, we'll be seeing that the sense of sight is linked in with the eyes. The sense of smell is linked in with our nose. The sense of sound is space. No. Hearing is linked in with space. The sense of touch is linked in with air. Which one did I miss? Water linked in with taste. And so when we meditate on that, remember we're meditating on his form. So his eyes, his ears, his nose, but what we're really seeing is space, air, fire, water, earth, and then all of space, all of air, all of fire, and then each one of us, our bodies are made up of space, air, fire, water, earth. And so that connection of we are a part of him. Because all of space is his ears. And then I'm also made up of space. All of fire is his sight. But I'm also made up of fire. And so physically, when we see attributes in the world as belonging to different parts of him, when we see the sun and we see it as his eyes, see the moon, see it as his eyes, see grass and see it as his, see rivers and see it as, then constantly we're remembering cosmic form, even when eyes are open, not only when eyes are closed, meditating. And so that's one way of meditating on his cosmic form. And then there's a second way, because in this cosmic form, it doesn't give only physical attributes. It gives even qualities. Everyone please move a bit. More this way and more forward. Please come, please come, please come, please come, please come. So it is said, his upper lip is modesty, but his lower lip is greed. It is interesting. These things we can just sit and ponder. Why? And also you wouldn't think greed is part of him, but he's not excluded greed in his cosmic form. And both modesty and greed next to each other. Upper lip is modesty, lower lip is greed. Why? Should I tell you? No. His front is dharma. So his heart, his lungs, his chest is dharma. And his back is adharma. He's not excluded adharma in his own form, because if it exists in existence, it's part of him. And again, this is reiterated that nothing can exist outside of him. All of creation is nothing but him. But why is it his back? Because when will we do a dharma? If he's standing in front of us, will we do anything wrong? Never. Even if we want to do something wrong, if we're standing in front of him, we won't do it. We'll wait for when we think, or when we think we're going to get away with it. That's when we'll do things. But if we actually see him constantly in front of us, we won't be able to. And so all these qualities in us, like, even when we think of ourselves, of course, everything in ourselves is me, but of course, some things we think of as more beautiful, more valuable. And so if we think about these qualities in us and we think, what is it in him? Is that a part of him we're going to glorify? Of course, every part of him is beautiful and worshipable. But we want to be in front, seeing. We always want darshan. If it's seeing only his back, we feel ignored, neglected. so nice to think of his cosmic form. Because Adharma is his back, and if that's what I'm doing, then that's what I'm going to get. And then that's what I'm going to feel. So this cosmic form, he is encouraging us to meditate on, because the more we meditate on it, the more we come to see that everything is a part of him, and so necessarily I am a part of him. If even jealousy is there, if even greed is there, if even adharma is there, then all those things that even I'm ashamed of having in me is already in him, and so it's part of him. And then of course there's things in me which are decent, and that's also a part of him. And so everything outside, the sun, the moon, the sky, the grass, the rivers, the mountains, is him, and then everything inside is also him. And so slowly, not only am I just a part of him, if I keep meditating on this, I come to see oneness. There is only him. There is only his glories. And so in this second canto of the Bhagavatam, the first canto explained who is a fit student, and the second canto explains sadhanas, what it is that we should be doing and how it is that we should live our lives so that we can die well. And the sadhana is listening to katha, but listening so that we can then live in alertness, energized and stay effective, and then be able to see him in and through everything around us and within ourselves as well. And here Guruji, Pujya Tejamayanandaji, in his commentary, this is the Bhagavatam that I'm reflecting on, that's written by our Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejamayanandaji. He gives this wonderful example in this Bhagavatam about when we have anything in us, we think it's me and we love it. He gives the example of our nails. And I think he gives the example of nails because in Kali Yuga we judge beauty by nails and hair, both parts of our body which are dead. Every other part of our body is alive, but we're so busy worrying about, never mind that. So, if our nails, let's say, beautifully manicured, and then you think so nice, so pretty, and we're busy showing it to everybody, or, holding everything so that they can be nicely seen. And then sometime it gets caught on something, and then it breaks and it gets chipped. Now that chipped bit of nail that is no longer a part of my finger, now what is it? Dirt? Everyone agrees? Do I keep it? True. Everyone agrees? Okay, so everything is part of Bhagwan. Remember, universal cosmic form, mountain, everything inside me, outside me, everything is part of Bhagwan. And if anything is outside of Bhagwan, then it becomes? You said it. Am I inside? Yes. Outside. Because if it's separate and outside, it's only when it's me, it's beautiful, mine, loved. And so constantly thinking I am his becomes I am him. I am his is dasoham. Dasa, his. Dasoham is I am his servant. Becomes, constantly thinking I am his becomes I am him. So hum. And this is the journey of Canto 2 of the Bhagavatam. To do sadhana, to be able to see ourselves as part of him until we see ourselves as that divinity alone, or rather not I am, but he alone is, and there is no more me. And in this, to be able to keep the mind focused, the sadhana of katha is given. And so he elaborates all the different kathas. And the next canto goes into creation theory and all the kathas of creation. But before it goes into that, at the end of the first canto, which we didn't finish yesterday, dissolution or Krishna's leaving is described. Even though canto 10 is when we meet Krishna, already we see that King Parikshit is asking Shukdev Maharaj, and the stories have already been tied into Krishna. And the first question he wanted to know is, how did he leave? Because already Shukdev Maharaj have said that Krishna has stayed as the Bhagavatam himself when he left. And how did he leave? How did he just leave? And so the story goes back to Vidur. And there's lots of names, and if you don't know who everyone it is, doesn't matter. Okay? Vidur was a great devotee, brother of King Dhritarashtra and King Pandu. And there was going to be this humongous Mahabharata war. And Dhritarashtra couldn't sleep at night because he kept thinking the war and his sons are going to die and so many people are going to die. And then, so he woke up Vidur, because that's what he did. Every time Dhritarashtra got upset, he woke up his brother Vidur, and now you make me feel better. He did this for years, I kid you not. When you read the Mahabharata, you're thinking, why is Vidur putting up with this? All Dhritarashtra does is tell Vidur, make me feel better. I'm making all the wrong decisions in life, but Vidur, make me feel better. And so Vidur doesn't. He's very honest. And he tells Dhritarashtra, your son is the incarnation of wickedness, and he's going to destroy your whole lineage. In a nutshell. And the son Duryodhana hears about this and gets very upset with Vidur, and of course says, how can you say such a thing? And then Vidur says, well, the war is about to happen and I don't want to have to take a side. So he leaves his weapons with Dhritarashtra and he goes on a yatra. And when he goes on a yatra, he meets Uddhav. After many months. Right? Many things happen in the process, which we will cut short. And when he meets Uddhav, Uddhav is Sri Krishna's right-hand man. Uddhav is a Parama Bhakta, and when Krishna left, the entire Yadava clan was destroyed except for Uddhav. Because when Ramchandraji left this earth, he left Hanumanji here to guide the story as the protector of the story of the Ramayana and to keep Ramchandraji's name alive. When Krishna left this earth, he left Uddhav as the protector of knowledge, not the story. Yeah. And to keep knowledge alive. So Vidur was meditating somewhere and didn't know what had happened. And so when he meets Uddhav, he says, how is Dwarka and all our loved ones, meaning Krishna? And Uddhav starts crying and says, how can you ask me when the very light of my life has left? How he is. Yeah. And so Vidur, surprised, he doesn't know that Krishna has left his physical body, and says, how? How did it happen? And Uddhav describes that Krishna, who was so attentive and so loving and so doting on everyone, one day became detached. Because adharma had set fast in people's hearts in Dwarka. And so he gives this whole list of all the adharma. And when we hear it, it's all things that we are very familiar with. Number one was gossip. He didn't like that Dwarka now was filled with lots of gossip. Number 2 was bickering. Nicer way of saying? Fighting. People disagreeing. That was enough, huh? And so the line that Uddhav uses is, Bhagwan showed the world his love and compassion, and then Bhagwan showed the world his detachment, which is equally powerful. And I'm glad I described detachment yesterday already. Detachment is not indifference. It's this ability to see really clearly and then not interfere. And then in the list of all the things that had happened was alcoholism and gambling, all those things that we saw about Kali yesterday. And so he realized it was time for the Yadu lineage to end. And so 2 curses come into effect. Okay? At the end of the Mahabharata war, Mother Gandhavri was so distraught to have lost all her 100 sons that when she sees Krishna, all her grief comes out as anger and says, I curse you, that you will also lose everyone you love. And Krishna smiles. What was Krishna's smile? Maya can delude and Maya can enlighten. When Krishna is a baby and Yashoda Maya looks into his mouth and she sees universes and universes and universes and she thinks, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And then Krishna thinks, no, she's getting too nervous. And he smiles. And Mother Yashoda forgets everything and goes back to, did you eat mud? But there's also a story of Narad Muni, where he gets very, very proud that I have conquered anger and I have conquered lust, and then he goes on this whole rampage of saying I am better than Lord Shiva, and I'm going to do the story very fast because it's not the story that's important. And so he goes to Lord Vishnu and says, I'm better than Shiva because I have conquered lust and I have conquered anger, and Lord Vishnu says, really? And he smiles. And Narad Muni immediately falls incredibly besotted with the next girl he sees. Smitten beyond belief, desperately wants to marry her, and then goes to Vishnu to get a boon, make me handsome so she'll choose me. But he says, give me Hari Roop, and then Bhagwan Vishnu makes him look like a monkey. And so then the girl, of course, doesn't want to marry him, and then she chooses Vishnu as her husband, and then Narad Muni Ji is broken-hearted because how can I have lost the love of my life? And then she went to you, you stole her from me, you horrible person, you made me look like a monkey, and you took the girl I love, I curse you. That you will suffer heartache. Who's he cursing? Bhagwan Vishnu, who he has lived his whole life worshipping. And Bhagwan smiles and says, Tatastu. Means, may it be so. And this smile, Narad Muni Ji now suddenly remembers. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Bhagwan is far more important than any girl, any relationship. Bhagwan is far more important than what was I thinking? How could I have forgotten? How did I let pride come into my heart? How did I insult Lord Shiva? His smile reminds Naradji of everything that was important and returns him to Rishi status. The first smile, little bit pride came in, the first smile made him fall so fast, so quick. Because he's Narad Muni, he can't be going around falling. Fast quickly, fall quickly, so that you can rise again quickly. But the second smile, he remembers everything that's important. Mother Gandhavri too, when she curses, of course, she's blindfolded and she can't see the smile, but his smile works nonetheless. She remembers. Actions have consequences. Duryodhana chose his path. And she immediately regrets. Why would I curse Krishna? But he needed an excuse to end the Yadu dynasty, and so he accepts her curse. But actually what he's doing is he's showing us. When Naraju cursed him, he accepted the curse. When Gandhavri curses him, he accepts the curse. Why? He accepts whatever we give him. Whatever we give him, he accepts. His love is pure. He will love us whether we say, Bhagwan, you are amazing, or he will love us whether we say, I curse you. May you suffer. To him, there's no difference. Whatever you want to give me, you give me, because I love you and I accept you. And he's showing us, this is love. And he's telling us, all I want is your love. Will you accept whatever I give you? Will you love me enough? Will it matter what it is that I give? Because it's far more important that I love. And so Gandhavri's curse is accepted, and Krishna says, Tatastu. Thank you, mother. He calls her mother still, after being cursed. The Yadava boys also make a foolish mistake in agonizing a Santa Mahatma. They put a ball of iron inside a young boy's t-shirt, wrapped him up in a sari, and then went and asked the Mahatma, is she having a boy or a girl? Can you predict the future? But unfortunately, this was a genuine Mahatma who could predict the future and said, I curse you that whatever is born will be the cause of your destruction. And so this ball of iron became the cause of destruction, because it became arrows that were made into, metal that was made into arrows that were held by the Yadavas that then shot each other. And as all of this was happening, Krishna was sitting under a tree, feet outstretched, one leg over the other, watching. Did he feel sad? Yes, it's very clear. He was sad that it had deteriorated to this, that the Yadavas living with him never recognized divinity. Living with Bhagwan himself, they never recognized divinity. Living with the greatest of all teachers, they didn't learn anything. What a waste. What's a waste? When Bhagwan's right here. And it's not that Krishna is not here now. Remember, he's here in this cosmic form, in this Bhagavatam. And we never get to know it. When we have this amazing knowledge and we don't imbibe it. He wasn't sad that the Yadavas were shooting arrows at each other. He was sad that it was a waste. They had Rishi Munis pray lifetimes to be able to spend time with Bhagwan. And the gopis did for such a short period of time. But they reveled in being with Krishna. Theirs is not a waste. Gopis spent morning till night chanting his name, thinking about him, serving him, loving him, talking about him, praising him, looking for him, drawing him, singing to him, cooking for him. Their life was not waste. But in Dwarka, they would forget him. Started automated living. In automated living, how to remember divinity. And so, Krishna leaves. But he stays back as this message. Which message? Uddhav's message to us. That every moment we can choose. Every moment we can choose how to live, how to die. Every moment we're living, and at some point we will die. That we don't have choice of. But how to? We totally have choice of. And then Vidur wants to know everything that Krishna taught before he left. And Uddhav says, he taught both me and Maitreya Rishi. And he actually remembered you, Vidur, before leaving this earth. And he left a message with Maitreya Rishi. Imagine Krishna remembers someone. He actually said bye to everyone in his own way before leaving. And Vidur was off on a yatra somewhere, and so he remembers Vidur, and he leaves a message for Vidur. And that message comes in the next canto. And the lesson he teaches is the Uddhav Gita, which comes in the 11th canto. So each canto is broken up into one central theme. And the next central theme is creation. And we're going to go into the details of creation soon, but we'll just do first one story of how creation little bit takes place. Brahmaji is given this job to create. Right? And then he actually one day suddenly splits into two, and there's Manu and there's Shatarupa, and it's the first man and first woman, and Brahmaji thinks, excellent, I did a great job. And then he looks at Manu and Shatarupa and he says, go progenate. And they're just about to go, and then they turn back and they say, but where? And Brahmaji looks and says, oh, because the earth's not there. The earth had been stolen by a demon called Hiranyaksha and submerged underneath the ocean. And so there was no place now for Manu and Shatarupa to progenate. And so, and just as he's thinking, what should I do? As he huffs, a small little tiny ball comes out from his nose. And as it comes out, it grows and grows and grows and grows to become this huge ball. Bolye Varavatare ki. And immediately he knows what to do, and so he goes down into the ocean, and he's lifting up this earth. And he brings it back on top of the water and rests it. But in the meantime, this demon realizes what's happening and he comes and he fights with Bhagwan. And this bit of the story we're going to do later after the break. But why did he take the form of a boar? Because he had to rescue the earth. Right? And all creatures that love the earth, can you think of all the creatures that love the earth? All of us? But no creature loves the earth more than a pig. Eats absolutely everything. Rolls in the mud and in the dirt. And to save the earth, what better form to take than a creature that loves the earth? What form will Bhagwan take? The one that is needed the most at that moment. And so often we'll think he never comes. We're just expecting him to come in one particular form. We don't know what form he's going to come in. He can come in absolutely any form. But him coming in this form just for such a small request is proof that when he's needed, he comes. Even for such a small job. Pick up earth, put it there. Like really. It almost sounds like an errand we have to run. So, but he will come when we need him, when we want him, when we think of him, he always comes. Start.
नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि हमसे कराई बस गाए जा तू हरि 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 ओम 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 नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि नरहर रूप में प्रकट हुए हैं धरती पुकारे हरि हरि रूप में प्रकट हुए हैं धरती पुकारे हरि हरि जल से उनसे रक्षा करेंगे हरि हरि जल से उनसे उबारा रक्षा करेंगे हरि हरि तेरे भी कष्ट मिटाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि तेरे कष्ट मिटाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि राम रूप में जन्म लिया है जग ने पुकारा हरि हरि राम रूप में जन्म लिया है जग ने पुकारा हरि 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 ओम 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 दीनहीन लाचारों का है एक सहारा हरि 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 ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम जो भी गले लगाए बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि नारायण मिल जाएंगे बस गाए जा तू हरि हरि सारे जगत में गूंज रहा है नाम ये प्यारा हरि 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 ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम जन्म की प्यास मिटा देती है अमृत धारा Vasudha